Hey ho, my name is Jo. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking some recent reads. Hello there, my name is Joanna. I refer to myself here as Jo, and I am Fight and Read Like a Girl. And today we're talking about some recent reads. Just because I haven't done a wrap-up video in a while, to be perfectly honest with you, my reading lately has been very sporadic. Because September, I didn't finish a book. I read quite a few, but I didn't finish one. And, August, okay, I read a couple of books, but I've had a really bad reading year. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if it's the whole COVID-19 bullshit. I don't know if it's just because I just don't want to read. I just have had a really bad reading year, and that's why I haven't done any wrap-ups or anything like that at all recently. But this is a recent reads video. That way so you guys can know what I've been reading, and let's get started. Alright, so the first book I'm going to talk about is Native Son by Richard Wright. I'm not sure what happened to my copy. It is honestly somewhere. I have been moving my books around recently, so it could be anywhere. But I read this back in August, I think it was. It went from August into September because it was just really rough. Anyway, I believe I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. And if you're not familiar with Native Son, you follow Bigger, who gets hired as basically a personal driver, as I guess I would call him, or like a chauffeur. And he ends up killing a woman, and he goes to trial for it. And that's what it is in a nutshell. I don't want to go into details on it. I honestly enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a great story. I thought it was a great, I guess you could say, introduction to the black culture. I don't know how to word that, and I'm so sorry if I offend somebody. But it was a really great way to, really great to read with the whole riots and the Black Lives Matter going on and things like that. I go into a little bit more detail on my personal thoughts about Native Son in a previous video, which I will leave linked down below, and also to the blog post that I talk about all lives matter to me. And like I said, I don't want to offend anybody, by all means. That's the last thing I want to do. But I really enjoyed Native Son. If you haven't checked it out and you are looking for a really good kind of like black history type of book, I would highly recommend. Next one is Of Curses of Kisses by Sandhya Menon. I actually recently talked about this briefly in my Do I Have That Book tag. If you guys haven't seen that, I would highly recommend it because I thought that video was just so much fun to edit, and I thought it came out really well. But anyway, so this is actually a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Stupid airplanes. If you guys didn't already know, I live in a really, really big, or I live by a huge airport, and there's military jets flying in and out all the freaking time. So, yeah. Anyway, so this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Do I need to say any more? Because you guys all know me. But anyway, so actually, I can't remember names. You follow Princess Jaya, and you follow his lordship Gray. So they are from two completely different worlds, and they end up meeting at this boarding school. Well, okay. So they meet at this boarding school, and Gray has this curse set upon him. Like, his family says, you have a curse, you have to stay away from, Jaya, you have to stay away from her. Like, she knows about the curse, she's out to get you. So literally, like, the roles literally switched in this. So Jaya is actually the beast, and Gray is the beauty. So I love the fact that the roles switched in this. And they both know each other's secret, but they don't know that they know each other's secret. And I just thought this was just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful way to do Beauty and the Beast. And I absolutely loved it. I want to say I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Definitely worth the read. If you haven't checked this out and you are a Beauty and the Beast fanatic like me, I would highly recommend it. Alright, next book that I have, which is going down, is Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. Wow. Okay. So, if you are not familiar with this, so you follow Libby Day, who basically witnessed the mass murder of her family by her brother. And 25 years later, the Kill Club is basically opening back up the case file, and she is approached by the Kill Club and says, "We want you to tell your story." So she ends up going back into her memory, and she ends up drawing up these distinct memories, and they end up just are completely just weird memories that you wouldn't think a young kid would have to go through, but she did. And Gillian Flynn, okay, this is the third book that I've read by Gillian Flynn. I don't know if she has any others, and if she does have any others, please leave a comment down below to tell me. But Gillian Flynn has quickly become one of my favorite authors. The first book that I had exposure to her was, Gone Girl, and then I read Sharp Objects, and then I read this one. And again, she has become one of my favorite authors literally overnight. Like, I just cannot wrap my head around the way that this girl writes. I even annotated something so I could share it with you guys in this video. And, okay, so basically this is not a spoiler by any means, but this is just kind of like they're talking about, what was it? It's basically I don't want to give too much away, but this sentence alone, like, I had to read it twice in order to make sure I was understanding it. But the second time I went to go read this sentence, I actually heard the static noise in my head. And I'm going to read this to you. I turned the radio on, scanned. Station 1, Station 2, Station 3. Blast of unpleasant noise, static, and ads for cars, and more static, so I flipped it right back off. That's not a spoiler, but I read that twice, and I heard that in my head, and it's, I just can't stress this book enough. If you have not read this, if you are even debating reading it, and you've read anything Gillian Flynn, and if you didn't care for Gillian Flynn, I would just at least highly recommend you give this one a try, because it's just mind-twisting, and I loved every second of it. So I would highly recommend this to anybody who needs to give Gillian Flynn even a second try. I believe I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, hands down. Alright, next book that I have on this list is Marked by PC Cast and Kirsten Cast. If you are not familiar with this, you follow a girl named Zoe Redbird who gets marked by the goddess and has to go to the House of Night and start her training. There, she finds out that she is actually a special, what they call, fledgling, and she basically develops her power overnight and ends up taking over everything. I'm not going to say what everything is because it'll give it away, but so you follow her, and her grandmother is very, very supportive of it, but her mom and what she calls step-douche, yeah, step-douche, they're not very supportive at all. They think like, oh my god, it's the work of the devil. She has to go to this place. No, God, why did she get this? Why? Like, they're questioning God. They're questioning everything about the Christian faith. And they're just not happy with it. And this was, my third reread, I believe. And I want to give it a fourth read because I didn't annotate it. But I really, really love this series. And if you guys enjoyed the Twilight series at all in any way, shape, or form, you would enjoy this series. It just talks about vampires, and vampires live among us. They're not really, the vampires live among us, and they act, okay, how can I word that? Vampires live among us. They live underground, in their own special world. If they go out in public, they are to cover up their tattoos, because as the vampire advances, they get beautiful, gorgeous looking tattoos. They have to cover those up if they go out in the world. And they also have, like, you know, Tim McGraw, who is this? Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, a couple others are part of the vampire world. They went to the House of Night, you know, they did their training, and now they live out in the world. They're famous, but obviously they're vampires, but nobody knows that. The only people that know that are the vampires themselves. So I really love this series, and I can't wait to dive back into it. I can't wait to go on to the next one. So 5 out of 5 stars, again, as always. Oh my god. Okay, so this next one that is on this recent reads video list that I'm actually kind of embarrassed I reread, but I only reread it because of the release of a new book. And I still haven't gotten my hands on said book, but that is Twilight by Stephine Meyer. Do I need to go into detail what this is about? Is everybody living underneath a rock and not know that this is about Emma Swan and Edward Cullen falling in love? Like, overnight? No, I don't. But for my second reread of this book, I can honestly say I think I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as I was when I was younger. First time I read this, it was my college days when I read this. And you know, that was like back in like 2009 or no, it was definitely before that. It was between 2007 and 2009 is when I read the Twilight series. And you know, I'm in college when I'm reading it, you know, whatever, no big deal. And I definitely became a twihard. I was, you know, so excited when the first movie came out. I was so excited when, you know, I got my hands on the second book and I was able to watch the second movie, third movie. You know, I was like a cute little schoolgirl, you know, all excited about the Twilight series. Second reread of the Twilight series, or at least the first book, I've come to realize Edward is a massive stalker. Like, a horrible stalker. And, you know, he watches her while she sleeps and she didn't find it creepy at all. I don't know if I missed that part the first time around or, like, you know, I was, like, young and naive and, like, figured, oh, that's so sweet. But no, as an adult, as a married adult, that's creepy. Somebody watches you while you sleep is a little creepy if you ask me. But anyway, I believe I ended up giving this, 3 or 4 stars? Only because I still love the story. I still love the whole idea of it. But the one thing that always got me, even the first time I read it to the second time I read it, is how quickly they fell in love. And the fact that vampires sparkle. Vampires are not supposed to fucking sparkle. Excuse my expression, but vampires are not supposed to fucking sparkle. But I always have had at the back of my mind, he's just a different type of vampire, Joanna. You love the story, but he's just a different type of vampire that just happens to fucking sparkle. That's what I've always told myself. But anyway, 3 to 4 out of 5 stars. Alright, and the last book that I have on this list, you guys know I've recently read this. You guys know that I have recently talked about this. I think I even vlogged that I read this. And that is The Dilemma by B.A. Paris. Now, you guys know B.A. Paris. If you don't know, actually, B.A. Paris is one of my all-time favorite authors. I have fallen in love with B.A. Paris ever since her debut novel, Behind Closed Doors. This one is no different. This is her most recent novel. And this one is not really the psychological thriller that she usually does, but this one is definitely... there is a mystery to it. My son keeps changing. There is a mystery to it. The mystery is she knows something and he knows something, but they're keeping it secret from each other. What she knows is a secret from the past that if he found out, it would completely destroy her, or could destroy him. And he knows a secret from the present that if she found out, it would completely destroy her. Now, it is her 40th birthday party, and she didn't have like her big elaborate wedding, so her husband's like decided, okay, I'm gonna throw you a big huge 40 birthday party. You know, he had this like secret, like, you know, I'm gonna bring your daughter home, she's gonna be here for it. I don't know, hold on, I want to make sure that's not a spoiler. Okay, so their daughter is studying abroad, and hang on, I don't want to make sure this is not a spoiler. Okay, so I'm not going to go into detail on it, but so Adam, the husband, he's been trying to get their daughter out to basically surprise her for her little birthday party. but he gets some really, really bad news. And I don't want to tell you what it is because it'll be a spoiler, but he gets some really bad news, and if he doesn't want to tell her because it will completely destroy her. And yeah, she knows a secret about the same daughter from the past, so that's where we are with that. I believe I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It bothered me a little bit, but I know I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Alright, so if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching this video. Please check out all my links down below because they're there for you guys. Don't forget to check out anything I talked about down below because I always list the books I talk about down below. And if you would like to, please leave a comment down below on your most recent read. And if you have read any of these books, please let me know your thoughts on them because I would really love to know. So don't forget to hit subscribe so you always don't miss random content by me because I post Tuesdays and Fridays, sometimes sporadically, but I'm getting better at it. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye!